Welcome, everyone. So happy to be here today. And thank you, Stacy. Love the intro. I'm going to give you my own take on California seaweed flora, and it's going to be a little different than my usual workshops, which involve a frolic in the intertidal. So we're going to do a frolic at a distance. I'm so sorry that you can't hold the seaweeds and smell them and touch them, and that I can't see you and talk to you, but let's soldier on. I'm going to talk at first some general things, then we're going to get into some specific seaweed species, because how can you leave a workshop without knowing a few seaweeds that you might see in the intertidal? Then I'm going to go on to talk a little bit about our great kelps, one of our great legacies, all evolved in the North Pacific, and with a focus on Nereocystis luetkiana, our bull kelp, which has been in the news a lot lately. And then I'll end up with a discussion of a few little bits about climate change and their effect on seaweeds. But how can I begin anything without inviting you into my home? This is the Herbaria that houses two different collections. The seaweed collections, as Stacy said, are in the University Herbarium. The University Herbarium was started by a phycologist, a seaweedologist. William Albert Setchell came here when he was only 31 years old from Yale and Harvard. He had taught at Yale and then was recruited to come here in 1895. And this was the beginning. He was the first director and the first curator of seaweeds. He was a incredible guy. He was interested in seaweeds. He was interested in fungi. He was interested in biogeography. He was an ethnobotanist. He was a geneticist. And he was an incredible collector and networker who connected California, at that time fairly isolated still, with the great herbaria of Europe. And he also connected critically with amateur collectors who helped him understand the diversity of seaweeds on this coast and brought him specimens to study. So he was a great collaborator and really put California on the map for seaweeds. Nathaniel Gardner was a school teacher in Washington, asked Setchell to help him identify a few things, and then became Setchell's close collaborator. He was an incredible microscopist. Setchell was networking and Gardner was doing the microscope work. So they were a great pair to work together. This is our herbarium. Have any of you been here? Have you visited? Have you seen this incredible array of world-class specimens? The seaweed specimens are here, this color. Our herbaria, our natural history museums, are related evolutionarily to the natural history collections of yore, from time immemorial on, where people collected what they found in nature and tried to make sense out of it, try to put it together. Looks like a collection of tchotchkes, but it was really things people were curious about, this cabinet of curiosity. And I personally feel so lucky to have gone to school in a place that emphasized natural history, that's rich with natural history museums, including the herbarium. And it's the herbarium that had such an impact on my own life. My friends, I've had a life of adventure in seaweeds. I feel so privileged to have spent so much time out there collecting, pressing seaweeds, making specimens, learning from the specimens in the herbarium. That's how I became familiar with our flora. Not from a book, although the first class I took at Bodega Marine Lab was the year that Marine Algae of California was published. So I had a good baseline to work with. a book to work with, as well as the collections. Collecting gives you a hands-on look at the seaweeds alive. But let's just take a second. Let me give you an impression of what it felt like to learn a flora. When you're old, you get to say things like this, and I'm taking great pleasure in it. There's actually, let's see. Hold on a sec. I can't see the top of this. I'm going to move this thing. I go down to the edge of the sea, how everything shines in the morning light.
Kathy, you've muted yourself.
Yeah. Okay, everyone, this is my first Zoom workshop. Will you bear with me? Stick with me. I'm with you. The cusp of the whelk. Can you hear me? The broken cupboard of the clam, the open blue mussels, moon snails, pink and barnacle scarred. Nothing whole or shut, but tattered, split, dropped by the gulls under the gray rocks and all the moisture gone. This is like walking the shore, waiting for something from the subtitle to come up, wash ashore so you can see it. Because when I started, I couldn't go down there. This is funny. Okay, it's not so funny. And this is what an herbarium is like. It's a little schoolhouse of little words, thousands of words. First, you figure out what each one means by itself. The jingle, the periwinkle, the scallop full of moonlight. Then you begin slowly to read the whole story. So this has been my experience. Fragments, learning, and putting it all together. What a joyful life. Plant presses, traveling with plant presses and collecting gear, making specimens. There's magic in specimens. First, you see them underwater and you pull them out and see them more closely. And then you press them and make a two-dimensional image of that three-dimensional space. Sometimes I'd only seen pictures of seaweeds, one of my favorites here, or I'd seen specimens, tattered, broken, until I got to see the real thing and put all these views together, the history, the tissue, the live critter. This is one not from California. This is in Australia, other places in the tropics. This original illustration was by William Harvey, one of the early 19th century phycologists. Beautiful detail of this elegant fractal-like seaweed, Claudia. And a friend of mine sent me this image, this photographic image, and you can see the network, you can see the spores, just as Harvey illustrated. Then finally, I went to the Philippines to do some collections for the Cal Academy, and I saw Claudia with my own eyes. So these are the kinds of thrills of collecting. I can't overemphasize them because specimens are powerful. They are a legacy for the future. They show what we have now and we share it with the future forever. Our mission. They are hard evidence of what we've seen here. Without a physical voucher, a name is just a rumor. Names change, as I'll be describing, but that entity is forever, and you need to have that voucher. Herbaria and specimens, of course, are assistance with species identification. They're records for geographic ranges of species, where they occurred at that time when they were collected. And very importantly, especially for me, they are anchors for nomenclature. The name belongs to the type specimen. The specimen, the person who did the description of the original description of the plant had in hand. That specimen bears the name. So to study the type specimens is to anchor a name into reality. And I'll be talking about this more too. And then finally, in the last few decades, herbaria and their specimens have turned out to be treasure houses of DNA to push our studies into a whole new realm of detail. That too, I'll be talking about. We have our specimens digitized and available for search for you, for anyone, for the world. One of our missions is to share our specimens with the world. The seaweeds from the West Coast were the first ones to be digitized, and now more and more collections are online to be shared. During the pandemic, when we couldn't come in, it was a lifesaving to be able to see the specimens, to help people, and to use them, but not to touch them. Do you have any questions so far?